In a heart-stopping encounter that defies all odds, a mother of 5 found herself face to face with one of the ocean's most fearsome predator, a great white shark. Ian and Terry Cartwright, a married couple, were taking their 5 kids to a movie on June 5, 1993. In the Bass Strait, close off the coast of Tasmania, Ian was in command of the Riveresco, a boat belonging to the Australian Maritime College. They were going to the 10th Island Bering-Joey Seal convoy. An abandoned granite outcrop known as this island is home to a sizable breeding colony of Australian sea lions. The region is a wildlife reserve giving some good diving and snorkeling opportunities, with up to 400 sea lion pups born each year. For the sake of scientific inquiry and marine biodiversity, this area needs to be preserved. At the University of Tasmania's Australian Maritime College, Terry Cartwright collaborated with faculty members. Stephen Ears, a lecturer in marine fisheries at the institution, and his colleague Josephine Osborne were among the divers on board the Riveresco. With the calm seas, it was easy for Terry, Stephen, and Josephine to put on their gear. Terry slipped into a 2-piece wetsuit. She pulled the hood up over her head and slipped into her yellow fins. Stephen lifted her yellow air cylinder onto her back, and Terry clipped it up. Stephen dropped into the water first. He signaled that it was okay to the rest of the crew, and he began swimming away from the boat. Second to enter the water was Terry, closely followed by Josephine. Terry was an experienced scuba diver, but hadn't been in the water for over a year. She was excited to be back amongst the marine wildlife that she loved so much. Terry was lagging behind her crew members, Ian and Ian Rinken, who called for her to hurry up. Terry swam to catch up, and they swam together. They admired the scenery and sea lions. Terry's descent was interrupted by a powerful force, knocking her out of her lungs and causing her regulator to be ripped from her mouth. Stephen and Josephine watched as a 15-foot great white shark torpedo hit Terry, disorientating and causing her to wheel around. Its enormous mouth clamped down around her torso, and she let out a muted cry, air bubbles escaping from her mouth. Stephen and Josephine looked on in horror as a shadow of Reed engulfed their friend. As the shark ravaged her, thrashing her body around in the water, they hid behind the underwater rocks, hardly daring to peek over the top. The sea lions all dispersed, swimming away or leaping out of the water onto the island. The 2 divers froze in terror. They desperately wanted to reach Terry, but they couldn't see where the shark was. Then, as Stephen decided to make a dash towards Terry's limp body, they saw the toothy grin of the shark emerge through the red-stained murkiness. Its powerful tail drove it through the water at 16 miles per hour. Its top lip curled backwards as its immense jaws opened once more and grabbed hold of Terry again. It dragged her deeper and deeper until Terry was out of sight. Stephen and Josephine rushed to the island, where Ian and the children were watching. They heard horror in the depths and called for Ian to bring the boat over. Ian, distraught, searched the area for over an hour, delivering the news to their 6-year-old quadruplets and 11-month-old son. With no sign of Terry, Ian radioed Bell Bay for help and initiated a sea and air search. During the afternoon, pieces of Terry's wetsuit surfaced a kilometer away from the attack site. One of her legs with the yellow fins still attached was also pulled from the sea. No other trace of Terry was ever found. When we enter the enchanting underwater world of the marine environment, we must always remember that we are amongst predators of all kinds, and that this is their domain, not ours. With an abundance of prey in the waters off 10th Island, great white sharks frequent the area. They typically take young sea lion pups that are inexperienced in the water. Any injured sea lions or stragglers are easy pickings for a 15-foot great white. As Terry had paused midway in the water column, suspended briefly as she tried to equalize her ears, she may have been interpreted as a struggling sea lion. Dressed predominantly in black and amongst swarms of sea lions, many believe that it was a case of mistaken identity.